Please go subscribe to the Central Indiana Sports Report for daily coverage on the Pacers, Fever, Colts, IU, Purdue, Central Indiana high school sports, and of course, IndyCar with Elijah Poe.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Welcome, IndyCar fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report and our final recap and reaction podcast of the season with Elijah Poe. The season has ended. The Nashville Music City Grand Prix has ended. Josef Newgarden's losing streak has ended. Elijah, our podcast is just getting going.
Yes, it is. It's really unfortunate that we're into the IndyCar season today. Just to think we've got to wait till the end of March to see IndyCars back on track, it almost just makes me sick. Nonetheless, what a great race it was to end off the 2025 season.
It really was. Especially this week, we're going to have a big, I'm sure, IndyCar report with news that's coming. The next 2-3 weeks, I'm sure we might even have some breaking news podcasts with the news that's coming. But let's focus today on what happened at Nashville. And that's Josef Newgarden won, and good for him because he needed that.
He did. Just to think he's won a race for 10 years in a row. I totally forgot about that streak, and keeps it alive now. And now he's at 11 years with the race win in a row. Second to Scott Dixon, who has 21. Nobody's catching that one.
Woof.
But it's still a really good result for Team Penske. And I really feel like Josef needed this at the end of the year to kind of cap off what was a miserable season, to at least have a little bit of a shining moment at his home race to cap off 2025.
And if Josef Newgarden could win a race that's not Indy, this is the one. And not just that, like you said, to end the season, gives him some momentum going into next season. It's going to make him have a little higher spirit here in the offseason. That was a big deal. And for Penske to go 1-2, it's kind of an announcement. Hey, don't forget about us next year.
Having Scott McLaughlin end up in third, just edging out Kiffin Simpson on that final lap. What a great battle that was. And kudos to Fox for showing that battle between Kiffin and Scott McLaughlin. They could have shown Newgarden Pelot. Even though Pelot was in that 0.3 of a second mark, it was pretty obvious that Pelot was probably not going to catch Newgarden. And that battle between McLaughlin and Kiffin Simpson was just awesome to see come to the line.
Fox did a pretty good job all day of showing what was going on. And man, we sound like broken records here. So much action going on, so much entertainment, such interesting plot lines throughout that field, like it was 17 out of 18 races this year.
It really just has been fantastic. Like you said, even though we sound like a broken record, I think it's still impressive that IndyCar has been able to provide such great racing this year. And I'll be interested to see what the overall numbers look like on Fox for fan growth. Regardless, I feel like the sport's in such a great spot because, man, these races, they are really compelling to watch. Anybody who tunes in or goes to a race, they're going to see the exact same thing we're seeing, and they're going to see some really great races.
Elijah, I'm going to bring in Dave Chanley, who just watched the race live, to give us his thoughts. And Dave, what was it like there? We were just talking about what a great race it was again.
Absolutely great race. I want to do one shout out to an Ashley Spears girl I met from Tennessee, and I told her I'd send her the podcast and put her name on it. But fantastic race. Pato had the field covered. Just a shame his tire went down. But it was a lot of great racing, middle pack, back. It was just fantastic.
Elijah and I were talking about the difference this makes for Penske and for Josef Newgarden, the fact that it's the last race of the season, the fact that it's on his home course, and his celebration kind of showed it, didn't it?
It did, and I think they were able to let a lot of pent-up emotion go there. It was good. It was right in front of us, this celebration.
And that's, I think Penske's kind of made it known that we're not going to be down for very long.
No, and Scotty Mack there and Simpson was a tremendous race. The start of the race was phenomenal. Side by side, young two legends, side by side for 10, 15 laps. That was just phenomenal to start. And
we haven't talked about him yet, Dave, but that was quite a ride. And if he had had the right tire compound, he might have been a factor there at the end.
Yes, and Ferrucci he had to go all the way to the back. I'm not sure what the penalty was for, and he made it back into the top 10. Rossi, great strategy to get up there. Also, heard what happened to, I do not know the penalty for him. I just
It was
know
a
the back.
unsafe release in pit lane.
Yeah, he cut somebody off who was going into his pit and made him actually completely miss his pit. It might have been Schwartzman. I believe it was Schwartzman. And it did.
He drove a rig race. He drove well.
He was penalized with 5 laps to go, and it cost him Rookie of the Year.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
And don't tell me Louis Foster got Rookie of the Year.
He did, who made the bigger bonehead move of the day. One of the biggest bonehead moves you'll ever see.
Yeah, that was awful. I watched it develop right in front of me into turn 1, and he just took him. He was a lap down. Let him go, and he just took him right up to the wall.
Yeah, it wasn't even like a major move, but it was a move that made him change his line and eventually got him together and into the wall. And it was a move that completely uncalled for.
Completely uncalled for. How is Malukas, by the way? We did see a copter leave, and we're not sure he was on it or not.
He was on that helicopter, but as far as the reports say, he'll be all right. And he was conscious, fully awake, but they're just taking him to the hospital to make sure everything's safe. Rather be safe than sorry there for sure, because that was a big impact.
Dave, we're going to spend most of this podcast talking about the race at Nashville, but we are expecting some big news in the next couple of days. So we hope that you will join us on the IndyCar report this week to talk about what we expect to be some big news. Or if it doesn't happen before the IndyCar report, we can talk about what we're expecting. So we hope that you're able to join us. Thank you so much for taking some time. We didn't expect to hear from you today because you're a pretty busy guy.
Well, we hustled out. We're just now getting into the car. At about lap 70, there was no high line. My granddaughter said she's on Dixon's noise, and he said there's no high line. And when the sweepers come out each time, it gave them a high line, and it is phenomenal racing.
Speaking of phenomenal racing, let's talk about Connor Daly real fast and how great it was watching him every restart.
Oh, my. Yeah. Especially at the start. Into one turn, I think he had already gone around 5 or 6 cars by the time Rasmussen hit the wall. I mean, it's just his thing is to go high. He was 3 high, and he is just, they're all fun to watch. Yep. It is just great racing, great oval racing, and this is just a great venue to watch it. It's 1.33 miles. And they go 200 miles per hour. And the whole weekend, I challenge all of you next year, let's all come to this race. All
right, Elijah, you heard him. We're going to join Dave Chanley at the Nashville Speedway next year for the season finale, we think. And let's do it, guys. We're in.
Absolutely. Nothing I would love more.
Thanks so much, Dave, for your time, and we'll talk to you later in the week.
Talk to you later.
Thanks, Dave.
Elijah, it was awfully nice of Dave Chanley to join us from Nashville after watching the race. And we just talked about Connor Daly. You and I have not talked yet about Connor Daly. Here on the Central Indiana Sports Report, we do not hide our biases. We admit that we're biased towards Central Indiana. And with that being said, our guy, not just because he's from Central Indiana, a lot of reasons, Connor Daly's our favorite. Man, how much fun was he to watch on ovals this year?
He's just so great on these ovals, and I think today's 5th place result, I think it really tells that Junko Solinger team that you might be mistaken if you don't sign him another year, because he is just so great. I just can't imagine him not being in that seat next year, because there wasn't an oval race in 2025 where he was not in contention at some point or another.
Right.
And to finish in 5th place today on the lesser strategy as well, finishing on that softer tire, just wasn't able to get it done on the restart. But to still come up in 5th after a really chaotic race from all the way down in 24th, it just goes to show how great of an oval driver he is.
This is not just because he's my favorite. If I'm any of these teams, I want Connor Daly in my car, because what's the most important thing in IndyCar?
Indy 500.
The Indy 500. And if you give that guy the best equipment, he is winning you the Indy 500.
I think he can do it one day. It's been a long time since we've had an Indiana native in victory lane, and he's definitely the best shot to do it.
I just think that they're all making a huge mistake not signing him. I understand he's not going to win you a championship. I understand that 11 of the 18 weekends or whatever, he is not going to be a factor to win. But the race that matters the most, and a bunch of the races that matter the most, Nashville and Milwaukee are big ones. St. Louis is a big one. You got to think about it because you want to win the 500. It would be a smart move.
And I especially think if you're a team that is maybe not those Ganassis, McLaren, Andretti's, if you need a car that's going to get you into that leader circle of points up in the top 22 drivers for some revenue sharing and some money to help the organization, you'd be dumb not to sign Connor because he is always consistently inside that top 22. Even if he's not the best street and road course racer, he is so good on ovals that he has those consistent enough results that he's going to put that car where it needs to be. Here's something I was thinking about. With the season Marcus Ericsson has had at Andretti, if you put Connor Daly in that car, I would not be surprised if Connor Daly would have a win right now. Just how great those Andretti cars are on ovals.
And it might have been an Indy.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, that's a hypothetical. It all gets me around to saying that Connor Daly should be in the sport.
Not only that, he's so entertaining, man.
The best.
And he is a great personality. People love to hear him talk after the race, no matter how he does, because he's going to tell you exactly what he thinks. There's so much to like about Connor Daly, and he's got to be in this series.
Has to be.
Let's take a look at the final results. Josef Newgarden won his first race of the year. Elijah, big deal for him.
It really is. And it's good to see Newgarden back in victory lane after the atrocious 2025 season he has had. It feels like anything that could alter his race has happened to him. And so to see him come in victory lane and close out this season is definitely big for him and big for that Team Penske organization moving forward.
Elijah, Alex Palou won 8 times this year and 3 second-place finishes.
Another second place today. He's just so good everywhere this series goes. He is.
I thought he was out of contention when he got a flat tire, and he just came back and.
Yeah, it just goes to show you how poised he is, and he got lucky with that flat tire. It really came at the right time. I think it was lap 40, 45, and that's what these cars do anyway around Nashville. That's their usual pit cycle. So that Ganassi team, credit to them for making it work out, and another second place result, and it's like it's nothing. That's how good he is.
So is Penske Ganassi 1-2, Penske Ganassi 3-4. Scott McLaughlin got the final podium finish, passing Kiffin Simpson, who had a great restart at the end. Who had a great restart at the end, but McLaughlin got by him for that final spot. Highest ever finish for Simpson on an oval. Really
good finish for both these drivers, and that last 5 or so laps was really great to see them race, and really cool to see Kiffin Simpson up there on an oval. Obviously, his best result heading into this race was, I think, 13th on an oval. So for him to be up in 4th place and showing some growth is very important because that Ganassi seat is very coveted.
We mentioned Connor Daly in 5th. That sounds like it is an amazing result for Connor Daly and Junko Solinger. But at the end of the race, I thought, a final yellow, here's his chance. And on the final restart, just didn't have it.
No, just didn't quite have that pace on the restart like he did earlier in the race. Regardless, I'm sure he's gonna be happy with that result because I really do think it kind of secures his seat for the next year.
Kyle Kirkwood was a little quiet and still finished 6th.
Really solid. He's had a little bit of a struggle bus on the second half of this season here, but coming home in 6th is definitely something that we can close out the season on somewhat of a positive note.
Felix Rosenquist of Meyer-Shank was 7th. Santino Ferrucci was 8th despite a penalty. That guy's fun to watch too.
Yeah, really crazy race for Santino. You know, he thought once he had that incident there that, you might be out of the race. And he needed a strong result because his second half of the season has probably been the worst out of anybody on the grid. So for him and AJ Foyt to have a decent result today is definitely needed.
Callum Ilott had a really nice race, consistent, finished 9th. Alexander Rossi was a little different kind of race, finished 10th.
Both solid results for them, and I'm sure they're going to be happy with the outcome of this race. And both of those drivers are in their first year with those teams, and Prema being a brand new organization, I'm sure both are going to have a lot to build off for next season.
Colton Herta, a disappointing 11th. Scott Dixon never really had it, finished 12th. Rinus VeeKay, Elijah, finished 13th. I don't think we heard his name all day, but as he's done all year, pretty decent result.
Dale Coyne's seating that 18. I know he's got a brand new sponsor lined up for that car next year in efforts to keep Rinus on board. And I can see this partnership working out again next year. And it'd be really interesting to see where VeeKay can go in the future because, he's been in the series for a while, but he's only 24 years old.
Elijah, Robert Schwartzman was in the top 10 at the end of the race and was the rookie of the year till he was caught blocking with about 10 laps to go, penalized. The penalty dropped him 5 spots to 14th and cost him the rookie of the year, but Louis Foster.
It is a shame for Robert Schwartzman. Obviously had that very, very highlight of his career at the 500 winning pole. But on face value, I would say this rookie of the year kind of deserves to go to Foster. He's been so strong in qualifying and in races, sprinkled throughout the season. But what a great rookie of the year race we had that kind of was under the radar really throughout this whole season. But unfortunate for him to come up with that penalty, but a strong season.
Can we say that the team rookie of the year was definitely Prema? Because what a performance by them.
Easily. And I'm super interested to see where they can go even in year 2. And then, comparing even their year 2 to where they're going to look like from 5 years from now, because they've really come on the scene and they've come on the scene quick.
Really, really bad season for Marcus Ericsson, finished 15th.
Definitely one that he's going to want to forget. I'm interested to see where that Andretti crew is going to go next year. Obviously, I know all drivers are lined up for next season, but in the world of IndyCar, that can change overnight.
No doubt about it. And I'm guessing that's what Andretti would like if he just moved on.
Yeah.
Stingray Robb finished 16th, then Nolan Siegel in 17th. Devlin DeFrancesco was 18th. Marcus Armstrong finished 19th despite being in the top 5 much of the day.
Just unfortunate for Marcus Armstrong, but regardless, that Meyer Shank Racing lineup for next year with him and Felix is going to be just as strong as it is this year, if not even better with their experience gained after 2025. And that team should be very fierce going into 2026.
And then 20th place, Elijah, was Will Power. And he had this race in his hands to win. Then an obvious driver mistake cost him probably 19 spots.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Will Power, obviously, his legacy at Penske is really up in the air, and I'm sure we're going to have some news on that possibly within the next few days. And to think he's not going to be in that number 12 car is pretty crazy, but that is the world of IndyCar we live in.
After last week, we had a Dane in victory lane. This week, both Danes had horrible days. Christian Lundgaard was 21st. Graham Rahal, 22nd. Louis Foster finished 23rd. Good enough by a point.
Yep, Louis Foster winning Rookie of the Year. That's a great result for him and RLL. I'm sure they'll be happy to tout that. I'll be really interested to see what he does in year 2. For me, he really reminds me of Christian Lundgaard, who also started in that RLL seat. And it'll be interesting to see what they can do next year and maybe build off his Rookie of the Year success.
Really bad day for RLL today, though. Pato O'Ward looked like he might win this race and then had a full tire go out on him, and he hit the wall late in the race.
It's a shame. We've had on these ovals specifically that those right front tires have been just really going flat out of nowhere. And like Pato said in his post-race interview, that is really, really dangerous. And Firestone needs to get that fixed because it happened multiple times a day.
Yeah, can I point out that it happened to only a couple of drivers and maybe they were doing something that everyone else wasn't, because we know that they were, and that was driving multiple laps on the outside of another car. That might have been the issue more than the tire.
Well, that is true, and that can definitely affect things. But a tire just exploding randomly in a sport where these cars are a lot of money, you know, this sport is technology. At the end of the day, I can see both sides of it, but you hate to have a mechanical issue maybe ruin somebody's race.
But taking care of the tires is part of the issue, right?
It's true.
Christian Rasmussen finished 25th after winning last week. Also ending on a crash today, David Malukas Didn't look good. As Dave mentioned, he was taken by helicopter to the hospital. Appears to be okay. Probably an accident that cost him a race or two if it wasn't the last race of the season. So at least there's that, right?
Yeah, that is the one shining spot. It'd be interesting to see what happens with David next year. Obviously, in talks for that Penske spot, where Will Power is now. Unfortunate today that he was just taken out. Nothing he could have really done, and he was looking like he could really challenge for that win there.
And Christian Rasmussen got a little too jumpy at the start and got in a position where he had the air taken away from him, ends up in the wall by himself on the start.
Definitely a shame coming off of a win last week. But regardless, I'm sure that ECR team is moving away from 2025 very happy.
I think so, and that's what you kind of get with Christian Rasmussen. He's going to be aggressive at the start, and sometimes it might cost you.
That's why we love him.
That's right. It's why we love Connor Daly, too. Man, next year's going to be fun. What a great lineup this season. We talked about Poe winning 8 races and finishing second 3 times. That sounds very Formula One-like, something that we don't like, that's too much dominance, but it really wasn't like that. You look at the podium, pretty much every driver in this field had a race to remember this year, right?
They did, and that's what makes IndyCar so great. We can have a first-time winner like Christian Rasmussen, and even if Poe is quote-unquote dominating, the races we're watching are still really, really entertaining, and that's all that matters at the end of the day.
That's right. Elijah, you and I will talk later this week because we are expecting some big news. And even if there's not big news, we'll talk about the big news that we're expecting, and we will recap the season.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Just because the IndyCar season's over doesn't mean we're done.
26, we'll talk Thursday. Thanks so much, Elijah.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much to Elijah Poe, as always, for joining me after every IndyCar race in 2025, and to Dave Chanley for calling in after taking in the race live in Nashville. Thank you so much for listening. Always appreciate it. Do us a huge favor and share this podcast with an IndyCar fan in your life and help spread the word. The Central Indiana Sports Report is here talking about Central Indiana sports every single day.
The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media.
What else?
And I love Greg.
That wasn't official. The thing's still coming here like 10 seconds.
So, you were faking it?
I was faking it. I just wanted to know if you loved me.
You played with my emotions like that.
The Central Indiana Sports Report. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.